Good morning, everyone, or good evening, or good afternoon. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to episode 20 of 31 progressive rock stocking stuffers for the holidays from 1971. That's right, we are looking back on 1971. Prog rock favorites of mine that turned 50 years old this year as we march through each and every day of December, giving you a different pick, a different favorite of mine. Today, like I said, it is day 20. This particular one released December 3rd, 1971, so a little bit over 50 years ago today, for the Island and Atlantic labels, produced by the band themselves. This is the fourth album from this legendary prog rock band, Islands, from King Crimson. Yeah, this is one of those albums that I think, back when I first started listening to King Crimson, way back when, in the 80s, I wasn't always so fond of this album. This album and Lizard were kind of, to me, like the not so great King Crimson albums from this particular era of the band. But as the decades have kind of wore on, I've actually grown to be quite fond of this album. Actually, it's very different. It's very jazzy, but it's still really endearing, and it's got a pretty interesting lineup in the history of the band. So we've got Robert Fripp, of course, on guitars and mellotron. Peter Sinfield on lyrics. Okay, he was a big, he was the guy who wrote a lot of the lyrics for them this time in their career. Mel Collins on saxophone, flute, bass flute, backing vocals. Ian Wallace, drums and percussion. And of course, Boz Burrell, otherwise noted as Boz at the time, on bass and lead vocals. And of course, he would go on to Bad Company after the kind of dissolution of this particular lineup of King Crimson. But we got some guests on this album. Soprano vocals on one track, Paulina Lucas. Got Keith Tippett, yes, that Keith Tippett on guest piano, Robin Miller on oboe, Mark Charig on cornet, Harry Miller plays double bass on two tracks, Wilf Gibson violin, and then a couple other folks appearing as well in like orchestral nature, so to speak. So what do we got on this album? Well, we got some pretty classic songs that I have been lucky to have seen the band, the current incarnation of King Crimson, play on recent tours, which is pretty special because most of these tracks have been relatively forgotten by the band for decades. It starts all off with Formentera Lady. Gorgeous track. Love the little jazzy underpinning in this particular arrangement on this song. Excellent song. Then The Mighty Sailor's Tale with that just foreboding, haunting mellotron, right? Excellent stuff. Then you got the kind of mellow the letters, right? Then Ladies of the Road, which is more of the upbeat rocker of the album, the song is all about those crazy ladies of the road when the band's out on the road and the escapades that happen, right? But of course, this was really never that kind of band, but written by Peter Sinfield, right? This is the story about those crazy ladies that are out there on the road. Okay, then we got Prelude, Song of the Gulls, another really kind of cool, kind of soundscapey type piece, and that leads into, of course, the epic title track Islands, which, like I said, over time, that song, as well as a lot of this album, has really, really endeared themselves to me. And Islands is absolutely a gorgeous piece of music. Just, again, this is not, there is plenty of guitar on this album, but it's not big and metallic and in your face like what we would hear from the band coming up real soon, right around the corner. And it's not the kind of, Fripp's playing is not even like what you heard on the first two King Crimson albums. More introspective, sure. There's some interesting leads. They're more jazzy on this album, and then you've got the mellotron and the occasional piano. It's just a different sounding album. It's definitely a step back in terms of volume and aggression from, say, the first two albums. And Lizard also, kind of both of these albums are very similar in that they're definitely jazzier and a little more, I don't want to say pastoral because they're really not. Definitely jazzier, definitely a little more avant-garde, I guess. Definitely some beautiful moments, though. And then, of course, with the next album, right? Lark's Tongues and Aspic. There comes the volume and the aggression and lots of guitar. And, of course, that would continue through 3 albums, right, with that next incarnation of the band. But for me, Islands is a lot of fun and a really good listen. And all these years later, 50 years later, I think myself personally finally figured out what was always really so good about this album that I just wasn't getting or not hearing way back when I first started listening to this album back in the 80s, right, and then in the 90s. Because quite frankly, this was part of my King Crimson collection for a good 20 years, maybe 25, before I finally started to say, you know what? Man, Sailor's Tale, really good. Formentera Lady, I like that. Ladies of the Road, kind of rocking. Islands, gut-wrenchingly beautiful and haunting and just emotionally just like devastating, right? So, that is my pick for today. Here we are on day 20. We don't have a ton of time left. We're rampaging through the month. We got about another just over a week and a half left, so stay tuned for more each and every day. I got some good stuff coming up. Got some, like I said, got some notable ones, got some pretty like underground ones, and you'll just have to wait and see what we have. And then there's actually at the very end of the month, probably on the last day, I'm going to give you, like I did last month though with the hard rock and heavy metal thing, I'm going to give you 2 episodes. One that's going to contain some honorable mentions that I just did not get to. So that's going to happen. It's not that I didn't get to them. I just couldn't squeeze them in because we didn't have enough days, right? So we're only doing 31 of these. So that's going to come up on the very last day, on the 31st. So you'll get a 2-for-1 episode that day. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. Coming up tonight, big Monday night episode. In place of the Hudson Valley Squares, we've got our annual big gathering for the holiday season. We've got folks from Hudson Valley Squares in the prog seat, the Guitarist Corner, Martin Popoff, all sorts of people are going to be joining us tonight on a Zoom call, all together in one Zoom box. Well, one Zoom screen with a million different boxes, all wishing you guys a happy holidays and telling you some of our favorite Sea of Tranquility moments throughout the year. So that's all coming up tonight. So stay tuned for that and a lot more here on the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content when it posts. We've also got the link to our Ko-Fi page below for channel donations. All of your donations are greatly appreciated to help us keep buying more stuff to talk about and show off here, whether it be music or movies. And we've also got the link to our merch page below so you can get some Sea of Tranquility stuff. Please do take advantage of the sale we're having between now and the end of the year. It's listed on the link below. And also the link to our webzine celebrating 20 years on the internet this year. So thanks for watching. I'm Pete Pardo. We'll see you real soon here on the channel. Till then. Take care. Have a good one.